Why your nervous system controls your ability to manifest. What if I told you the reason you're not manifesting the life you want has nothing to do with your vision board? What if it has nothing to do with how hard you're affirming, how long you're meditating, or how badly you want it? What if the real block, the one nobody in the spiritual community is talking about enough, is living right here, right inside you, inside your nervous system? Hi, I'm Renetta. And before I became a life coach and conscious creation guide, I spent years as a trauma surgeon. I lived on the inside of the human body, literally. And what I learned in that operating room and in my life overall eventually changed how I understood everything about manifestation. Today, we are going deep. We're talking about actual neuroscience behind why your body either supports or sabotages your ability to create your reality. We're going to cover what the nervous system does and how it shapes your experience of life, why stress is literally a manifestation blocker, what polyvagal theory is, and why every conscious creator needs to understand it, and 5 science-backed practices you can start today. Stay with me. This one will change how you manifest forever. What is the nervous system? Okay, before we get into the manifestation piece, I need to give you a quick, easy foundation because this is going to make everything else land so much deeper. Your nervous system is essentially your body's communication network. Think of it like the Wi-Fi system for your entire experience of life. It connects your brain to your body, your thoughts to your feelings, your inner world to the outer world. There are 2 main parts we care about today. First, the central nervous system. That's your brain and spinal cord, the command center. Second, the autonomic nervous system. And this one is the big player for manifestation. Autonomic means automatic. This part runs without your consciously thinking about it. Your heartbeat, your breathing, your digestion, your stress response, all of it running in the background 24 hours a day. And here's where it gets really interesting for us as conscious creators. Your autonomic nervous system has 2 modes. Mode 1, sympathetic. This is your fight or flight response, gas pedal, high alert, designed to help you survive danger. Mode 2, parasympathetic. This is your rest and digest response. Brake pedal, safety, recovery, creativity, growth. Write this down if you need to, because what I'm about to tell you is the entire foundation of why your nervous system either opens the door to manifestation or slams it shut. How your nervous system creates your reality. Here's the thing that most people in the law of attraction space miss entirely. Your nervous system doesn't just respond to your reality. It actually constructs it. Let me say that again. Your nervous system constructs your reality. Here's how. Your brain, specifically a region called the reticular activating system, or RAS, acts like a filter. Right now, your 5 senses are taking in roughly 11 million bits of information per second, but your conscious mind can only process about 50 bits per second. So RAS is deciding what you notice, what you ignore, and what becomes your lived experience. And what does the RAS use to make those decisions? Your dominant emotional state, your beliefs, your nervous system's current setting. When your nervous system is in calm, open, regulated state, your RAS is set to notice opportunity, possibility, evidence of what you want. You feel hope. Things seem to fall into place. Synchronicities appear everywhere. When your nervous system is dysregulated, stuck in survival mode, your RAS is set to scan for threats. You notice everything that's going wrong, everything that proves your fear is right, everything that confirms you're stuck. This is not just woo-hoo stuff. This is neuroscience. There's also something called neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to literally rewire itself based on repeated thoughts and experiences. Every time you practice a new thought pattern, a new emotional state, a new belief, you are physically building new neural paths or new neural pathway. Deliberate creation at its core is the intentional use of neuroplasticity. You are rewiring your brain to perceive differently. You're rewiring to perceive a different reality and eventually to create it. Your nervous system is the hardware. Your beliefs are the software, and your life, that's the output, the neuroscience of manifestation. Now, let's talk about what's actually happening in your brain and body when you are in high vibe or high vibrational state, aligned state versus a low vibe, fear-based state, because the chemistry is wildly different. When you feel hopeful, grateful, excited, loved, or at peace, your body releases a cocktail of chemicals that includes dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. These are your growth chemicals. They open you up. They support learning, creativity, connection, action taking. When you feel scared, anxious, resentful, or stuck, your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline. These are your survival chemicals. They are brilliant for running from a lion, but they are absolutely terrible for manifesting a new career, a loving relationship, or financial abundance. Here's something I want you to really sit with. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a real threat and an imagined one. If you are constantly replaying worst case scenarios, doom scrolling, or running mental movies of everything that could go wrong, your body is treating that as a real emergency every single time. And that means cortisol is running through your system, your prefrontal cortex, the creative, future-oriented, problem-solving part of your brain goes offline, and your nervous system is not available for the expansive, open, trusting energy that deliberate creation requires. This is why you can repeat affirmations all day and feel nothing. If your nervous system is in survival mode, your body literally cannot receive the signal you're trying to send. It's like trying to pick up a radio station when you're tuned to the wrong frequency. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this. The body becomes the mind. That when you have the same thoughts, you trigger the same emotional chemistry, which reinforces the same neural pathways, which creates the same behaviors and perceptions, which keep manifesting the same reality. Changing your life requires changing your nervous system first. How stress blocks manifestation. Let me show you what this actually looks like in real life, because I'm sure you've experienced this. Have you ever been going through a rough financial stretch and suddenly you're everywhere seeing reminders of what you don't have? Every ad seems to taunt you. Every social media post from someone doing well stings. You wake up at 3 a.m. running numbers. You feel the tightness in your chest, even when nothing is happening. That's not the universe punishing you. That's your nervous system in survival mode, with your RAS filter set to find more evidence of the lack. And your actions, the calls you don't make, the opportunities you don't pursue, the energy you give off when you show up, all of it reflects that internal state. Okay, think about relationships. Have you ever noticed that when you're happy and not looking, people seem drawn to you? But the moment you feel desperate or lonely, it's like there's an invisible force field. That's not coincidence. Cortisol literally affects your body language, your micro expressions, your vocal tone. People feel a regulated nervous system as safe, warm, magnetic. They feel a dysregulated one as anxious, needy, or closed off, even if you say all the right words. Here's a check-in for yourself. Think about the thing you want most to manifest right now. When you think about it, really sit in it for a second. What does your body do? Do you feel expansion, a warmth, an openness, a knowing in your chest? Or do you feel a slight clench, a tightening. Your body just told you exactly which state your nervous system is in when it comes to that desire. And your nervous system state, not your vision board, is the primary signal you are broadcasting. The research on this is extensive. Chronic stress has been shown to impair the hippocampus, which is involved in memory and imagination. That means a chronically stressed brain literally has a harder time vividly imagining the future it wants. Visualization becomes harder. Belief becomes harder. It's neurological feedback loop, and it keeps people stuck. But here's the good news. The same neuroplasticity that traps you in that loop is the same neuroplasticity that can set you free. Polyvagal theory and deliberate creation. Now, I want to introduce you to something that is going to completely reframe how you think about your spiritual practice. It's called polyvagal theory. It was developed by a neuroscientist, Dr. Stephen Porges. And while it has a complicated sounding name, it is quite simple. You know how we talked about the autonomic nervous system having two modes, fight or flight and rest or digest. Polyvagal theory says it actually has three. At the top of what Dr. Porges calls the autonomic ladder is the ventrovagal state. This is your social engagement system. When you're here, you feel safe, connected, open, and at ease. You can be present. You can dream. You can receive. This is the state of flow. In the middle is the sympathetic state, that classic fight or flight zone. Activated, anxious, defensive. You can still function here, but it costs you energy and it closes off receptivity. At the bottom is the dorsal vagal state, sometimes called the freeze or collapse state. This is a shutdown, numbness, disconnection. This is where depression, hopelessness, and I've given up trying to manifest lives. Here's the connection to deliberate creation that I think is so profound. Everything you've ever been taught about manifestation, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the open-hearted gratitude, the trust, the allowing, those all are descriptions of the ventral vagal state. Your spiritual teachers were not wrong. They just didn't have the vocabulary or all the pieces of the neuroscience woven together. When Abraham Hicks talks about alignment, when Neville Goddard talks about feeling the wish fulfilled, when every conscious creation teacher tells you to raise your vibration, they are pointing to the ventral vagal state. This is why nervous system regulation is not separate from your spiritual practice. It is your spiritual practice because you cannot get into alignment. You cannot truly feel the wish fulfilled from a dysregulated nervous system. The vagus nerve, the start of the polyvagal theory, runs from your brainstem all the way through your heart, lungs, and gut. It's the physical pathway between your mind and your body. And here's the part that excites me most. You can directly stimulate it. You can intentionally shift yourself up the ladder into the ventral vagal state on purpose with specific practices, which brings me to what you actually do with all of this information. Okay, 5 exercises to regulate your nervous system and amplify manifestation. Okay, this is where it all comes together. I'm giving you 5 practices that work directly with your nervous system to shift you into the ventral vagal alignment state. So your body becomes the instrument of your conscious creation, not the obstacle to it. These are not random wellness tips. Every single one of these has a neurological basis for why it works. Exercise 1, physiological sigh. This is one of the fastest resets. The physiological sigh is what your body does naturally when it needs to reset. You've seen it, that big double inhale followed by a long exhale. Researchers at Stanford found this is the fastest way to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Here's how to do it on purpose. Take a deep breath in through your nose. At the top, take one more short sniff in, then release it slowly through your mouth, longer than it took you to inhale. 2 to 5 of these and your cortisol levels begin to drop. Your nervous system starts to shift. You are now creating from a different state. Do this before meditation, before affirmations, before visualization, and watch how different different it feels. Exercise 2, somatic anchoring, body-based belief installation. Most people try to manifest from the neck up. They think the thought, maybe feel a flicker of the feeling, and then move on. But the body has to be involved for a new belief to wire in. Here's the practice. Think of what you want to feel when your desire is manifested. Not the thing itself, the feeling. Freedom, safety, joy, love. Now, place your hand on your heart. Take a breath and let yourself actually feel the feeling in your body. Even for 30 seconds, let it become physical. That's a somatic anchor. When you do this consistently, you are training your nervous system to recognize that feeling as familiar, as safe, as home. And your nervous system will always move toward what feels like home. Exercise 3, vagal humming or toning. Remember how I said the vagus nerve is the physical highway between your mind and your body? You can stimulate it directly through vibration, humming, singing, chanting, even gargling with water. All of these create physical vibrations in the throat that activate the vagus nerve and signal safety to the nervous system. This is why ancient traditions built chanting into their spiritual practice. It wasn't just devotion, it was neuroscience. Try this. Take a breath in and on the exhale, hum. Keep it going as long as the breath lasts. Do this 5 times. Notice how your body settles. Add this before you meditate or journal your intention. You'll find yourself dropping into alignment much faster. Exercise 4, state-based scripting. You may have heard of scripting, writing as if your desire is already real. What most people do wrong is they script from a place of wanting. They write about the future while their nervous system is in the present state of lack. The words are right, but the state is wrong. The state-based scripting means you get your nervous system into the ventral vagal aligned state first, using the breath, the humming, the somatic anchor, and then you script. Now you're not writing toward the feeling to get to the feeling, but you're writing from the feeling, from having the feeling, from a place of the feeling. Your subconscious mind and your RAS cannot tell the difference between vividly imagined and real. When you write from the feeling with your nervous system regulated and open, you are giving your brain a new experience to wire in as familiar. Exercise 5, coherence practice. This is a heart-brain alignment. Okay, the Heart Math Institute has done decades of research showing that when your heart rhythm is in a state of called coherence, smooth, rhythmic, regulated, your heart sends signals to your brain, and that increase clarity, creativity, and emotional stability. They actually call this the heart-brain coherence, and it's measurable. Here's the simple version. Slow your breath to about 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. As you breathe, direct your attention to your heart area. Bring to mind something you genuinely feel grateful for, something real, something warm, not a forced gratitude, a real one. Hold the feeling for 2 to 5 minutes. This practice creates measurable coherence in your heart's electromagnetic field, which, by the way, extends several feet outside your body. You are literally shifting the field around you. And from that field, your manifesting practice becomes exponentially more powerful. Okay, let's put this all together. Let me bring this full circle for you. Your nervous system is not just responding to your life. It is actively filtering, interpreting, and co-creating your reality through your RAS, your neurochemistry, and your neuroplasticity. This is how you are in control of your reality. It's your RAS. It's your neuroplasticity of your system, your body, your brain. Okay, stress. Chronic, low-grade, everyday stress is not just uncomfortable. It is neurologically blocking your ability to perceive, believe in, and act on what you desire. It's a physiological manifestation blocker. Polyvagal theory gives us a map. The ventrovagal state is the state of alignment, the state every spiritual teacher has been pointing to. And now we know it's not mystical, it's neurological, and it's accessible. The 5 practices I gave you today, the physiological side, somatic anchoring, vagal humming, state-based scripting, and coherence practice, are not separate from your manifestation work. They are your manifestation work. They are how you bring your body into the conversation so your whole being, the whole of you, is aligned, not just your thoughts. You are not broken. You are not bad at manifesting. You may just be trying to tune into a signal your nervous system isn't yet open to receive. And that is absolutely completely changeable. That's the work. That's the real work of deliberate creation. Not more hustle, not more affirmations you don't believe. Regulation, safety, alignment from the inside out. I want to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 5 practices are you going to try first? Drop it below. I will read everyone. If this landed for you, I have a free wealth alignment affirmations guide that was specifically written to work with a regulated nervous system, not against it. The link is in the description. And if you want to go deeper into conscious creation, deliberate creation, and how your inner world shapes your outer world, make sure you subscribe, because that is exactly what this channel is built on. I'm Renetta. This is Life by Desire, and I'll see you in the next one.